What's going on, guys? It's Happy no love Pokemon player, and welcome to my journey of Cannot Beat Pokemon Red version with Pokemon and moves in alphabetical order. This challenge has way too many rules, so let's just check them out. I split the rules into two sections, catching and other. First of all, I can only catch a Pokemon the first time I'm in an area. This makes it so I can't backtrack to get specific Pokemon later on in the game. I'm also not allowed to catch any more than 6 Pokemon, so the PC is basically useless. To make it more of a challenge, I won't be using legendary Pokemon in this run. And the main rule, I must always advance in the alphabet when catching, receiving or evolving a Pokemon. This means that after I get something like a Caterpie, I can't catch an Abra anymore since it comes before Caterpie in the alphabet. I also won't be able to evolve Kakuna into a Beedrill since Beedrill comes before Kakuna. For the next set of rules, in battle with moves I can't go back in the alphabet. So for example, after I use Tackle, I won't be able to use Growl anymore since it comes before Tackle. I am allowed to use Tackle back to back, and it also resets after every battle. Next, I can't do any grinding that isn't necessary for making progress, so I don't overlevel to reach certain evolutions. And of course, I can't use any items in battles except Pokeballs, nor can I abuse glitches or exploits. I don't think this challenge will be too hard, but it will require lots of planning, and that's exactly what I like. That should be all for the intro stuff. Let's jump right into the challenge. I start off by selecting Bulbasaur as my starter since that's the only one that can fully evolve in the challenge. Next up is our first rival battle against Sep. DashingSceptile, link to his YouTube is in the description, and since I obviously am the better trainer, I totally stump this. Let's move on. Since I like grass type, you would think I'd have no problem with the rock gym, right? Wrong. Bulbasaur learns the first grass move at level 13 in this game. Ridiculous. We do have Leech Seed though, which could be helpful. Even with that, I still struggle with the regular gym trainer. The Diglett does a lot of damage, so when I get the Sandshrew, I am too low to take it down. After a couple attempts, I get enough experience to learn Vine Whip by taking down Diglett over and over again. With this, Brock was an easy sweep. Although Onyx managed to move first, neither of his Pokemon managed to live a single Vine Whip, since it's special in this game like all other grass moves, so we have an easy victory. On my way to Cerulean City, Bulbasaur tried to evolve, but I cancelled the evolution so I can get a certain Pokemon later on. When I got to Cerulean City, I immediately challenged the gym leader, Misty. Even though it's 2 levels lower, her Staryu still outsped my Bulbasaur, but one tackle didn't do much, and for some reason Misty used an X defense next turn. Apparently she isn't aware that the physical special split hasn't been implemented yet, just like good AI is still missing in this game. Her Starmie managed to take the hits better and did more damage, but due to another X defense and the crit Vine Whip, I took it down. Next up is our second rival fight against Sep, but he came prepared this time. He led with Pidgeotto, and even though Gust is a normal type move in this game, it still did way too much damage. Bulbasaur didn't even manage to take down the Pidgeotto, so I need to grind. I just keep battling Sep to level up and see if I can get a lucky run at some point. I started with Leech Seed to slowly recover some HP and then spammed Tackle until the Pidgeotto went down, and after it lowered my accuracy with a Sand Attack and brought me down to half health. His Abra only knew Teleport, but because I already used Tackle, I couldn't use Leech Seed to recover my HP, so I just took it down with Tackle. Next with Rattata, which did some damage with Tackle and Quick Attack, but I managed to take it down in 2 turns. His final Pokemon was Charmander. My strategy was to use Tackle until it lowered my attack too much with Growl. It went pretty well until the end, where Bulbasaur almost went down to an Ember, but it managed to hit its final tackle to finish the battle. While taking down trainers north of Cerulean, I taught my Bulbasaur Razor Leaf over Poison Powder. Before going to the SSN, I stopped by a Diglett's cave to catch myself a Dugtrio. Next I was to SSN, where I picked up the DM for Body Slam, which I taught to my Bulbasaur. There is also another rival battle here, but we are way stronger this time. My plan was to spam Body Slam with Bulbasaur until it went down, and then spam Dig with Dugtrio to finish it off. However, I ended up sweeping him complete with just Body Slam. None of his Pokemon could withstand 2 Body Slams, and only Charmeleon did some good damage to us with a critical Ember, but it went down before it could do any more damage. After this fight, I finally let my Bulbasaur evolve into Ivysaur since I got the trio that I wanted. Wild type trio are very high level for this part of the game, and they know Dig when you catch them, so the electric gym was an easy gym, literally nothing to say except GG easy. We have yet another rival fight against Sep in the Pokemon Tower. His Pidgeotto was a bit stronger, but still couldn't survive 2 body slams from Ivysaur. Actually, it was more annoying since I put my Ivysaur to sleep with Hypnosis, and then Gen 1 across the turn when you wake up, so sleep is even more annoying, but I could exactly still take it down without too much of a problem. His Gyarados did manage to live more than 2 body slams, but due to paralysis and a bad move choice from Sep, it faints before doing any damage. Somehow my Ivysaur outsped his Kadabra, so that Pokemon isn't a problem either. Last was Charmeleon, so I switched in Duck Trio, and 1 day later the battle was over. I am quite overleveled at the moment, but trust me, I avoid as many trainers as possible. Next is our first battle against Team Rocket leader Giovanni in the game corner hideout, and he is a total pushover. Bowadings and Rhyhorn are quite weak to grass, so they would die if a single leaf fell on them, so you can imagine what a critical Razor Leaf would do to them. Kangaskhan managed to survive one crit Razor Leaf, but after doing a little damage with Comet Punch, it dies to the second one. Razor Leaf does have a higher crit ratio, and crits are calculated in a weird way this game, so I definitely get them often. Before he could take on Giovanni and Silphco, there was yet another rival battle against Sep. He led with his fully evolved Pidgeot, which now has wing attack and actual flying type attack. I got some good damage with Ivysaur, but the wing attack did too much damage to us, not looking good. I run in Duck Trio and I just spammed Slash, and although it took down his Pidgeot, his Execute paralyzed me with Stun Spore, after which his Gyarados easily finished us with Hydro Pump. I didn't expect to have such a hard time here, let's do something else first. I decided to first take on the grass type gym leader, Erica. She led with Victory Bell, which barely hung on to one dig, after which it put my Duck Trio to sleep with Sleep Powder, so it could easily finish it with 2 Razor Leaves. I brought in my Ivysaur, which couldn't use Body Slam or Cut anymore since I used Dig already, so I had to spam Razor Leaf for the rest of the fight. Although it was painfully slow, that couldn't do much to me either, so I took both Tangela and Vileplume down after spamming Razor Leaf for a while. I then went to Fuchsia City, but before I challenged the gym I visited the Safari Zone where I was planning to catch a Tauros, but I didn't account for needing to get Surf for other Pokemon, so I went for Kangaskhan instead and grabbed Surf plus the Gold Teeth while I'm in here. After that I battled the leader of the Fuchsia gym, Koga. I started with my newly caught Kangaskhan, and the coughing didn't do much damage, so I just spammed Bite until it went down. I did the same against his Muk, and it looked good for a while, but he finally got a strong Sludge Elf. It almost knocked me out, so I decided to switch into my Ivysaur while Koga used a random X attack. I then managed to take down the Muk with 2 Body Slams after it went for Poison Gas against my Poison type. Jam on my eye is weird. Next was the second coughing, and although it did some damage with Smog, it only attacked me once before it went down to 3 Body Slams. The final Pokemon was a high level Weezing, which scared me, but it wasted 2 turns by going for 2 X attacks, and it then used a very strong self-destruct, which would have definitely killed me if I wasn't using Dig, so it ended the battle before I could do that. Next up is my second try for the Silphco rival battle. I led with my Kangaskhan, and because I've used Whirlwind multiple times with Pidgeot, I managed to finish it after a couple bites. Execute's up second, so I went into my Ivysaur, which wasn't affected by his Poison Powder, and it wouldn't take much damage from any grass type attacks. With the help of a crit, the Execute went down to a couple Body Slams. Third was Gyarados, so I switched to using Razor Leaf, and after more bad move choices from Sep, I took it down. Next up was Alakazam, which normally is very scary with lots of crits and strong attacks, but for some reason it kept spamming Recover, and a critical slash from Block 3 did more than 50%, so went down after a couple turns. Charizard was last, and I just stuck to Slash, and due to even more bad decisions from Sep, I could beat him and move on. In the second battle against Giovanni, he led near Reno, so I started with my Duck Trio, which easily dealt with it with 1 dig. He then sent out his Kangaskhan, so I switched in my Ivysaur to do good damage with Razor Leaf, but he also did good damage with a critical bite, so it was at low HP when he went down. Luckily his next Pokemon wasn't a big deal since it was a Rhyhorn, which quite weak to grass and died to 1 Razor Leaf. Last was Nidoqueen, and Giovanni continues the Gen 1 trend of being stupid by using a Guard Spec on and Poison Sting with his Nidoqueen, giving me the opportunity to go for 3 Razor Leaves which just barely took him down. I then finished up my 6-man team for this challenge by first getting Lapras in the Silphco building, then catching a Magneton in the power plant, and finally catching a Muk in the Pokemon Mansion on Cinnabar Island. While I was there, I also took on the fire gym leader, Blaine. I planned to just over everything with Surf, which worked for Growlithe, but not so much for Ponyta, which very slowly took down Lapras with Fire Spin, which like all other trapping moves is very broken in Gen 1. My Kangaskhan had sped with Ponyta, and because of it going for Growl and Surf critting, I didn't get wrecked by Fire Spin this time. I continued to spam Surf against Rapidash, and it goes surprisingly well since even though it used Fire Spin at one point, I broke out soon afterwards, so no big deal. Last was Arcanine, and his Embers were doing way more damage than my Surfs, so it didn't take long before my Kangaskhan went down. The only Pokemon with usable moves left was Magneton, and Fire Blast did a ton of damage to it, so almost had to give it up, but again, Blaine was stupid and went for Roar, so one final Thunder finished the battle. Next up was Sabrina, and I had a way easier time here. Her first two Pokemon, Kadabra and Mr. Mime, both went down to the dig from Dark Trio, and Venomoth got knocked out by 2 rock slides, but not before it could paralyze me. Last was Alakazam, and I managed to get 1 slash with Dark Trio before I got KO'd, after which Kangaskhan finished the job with strength. The final gym battle with Giovanni was the big deal either. He kept wasting turns with either guard specs or weak moves like Poison Sting, so due to a combined effort of Kangaskhan and Lapras spamming Surf, Giovanni went down and we can go to the Pokemon League. Before we could actually go there, we have another rival fight. I led with Lapras, which pretty easily took care of his first 3 Pokemon, which were all weak to Ice Beam due to their Flying, Ground and Terra Status respectively. Gyarados outsped me and it did some good damage, but in the end he choked by going for Leer and a critical hit took down Gyarados. Next was Alakazam, and he almost outgoed my Kangaskhan with a single Psybeam, and strength did only just over half of his HP, but he choked again, this time by going for Reflect twice, so 2 more strength managed to knock it out. Its last Pokemon, Charizard, locked itself into a rage, a very bad move in Gen 1, so my Magneton got the kill with Thunder and 2 Thunder Shocks without too much trouble. While battling some trains to the victory road, I finally let my Ivysaur evolve into Venusaur. So this was our team before the Elite Four. Venusaur with Cut, Razor Leaf, Growth and Body Slam, Dugtrio with Slash, Growl, Dig and Rock Slide, Kangaskhan with Blizzard, Surf, Earthquake, Body Slam, Lapras with Psychic, Body Slam, Surf and Ice Beam, Magneton with Tackle, Thunder, Thunder Shock and Supersonic, and finally Mach with Fire Blast, Poison Gas, Minimize and Sludge. First up was Lorelei, and I led with Lapras to go for a weak Body Slam and bait out the rest. While it was asleep, I brought up my Venusaur and knocked it out with 2 Razor Leaves. Cloyster managed to survive 1 hit and do good damage, but since Venusaur outsped them, they went down anyway. Stopper kept spamming his Amnesia, and since it is a psychic move, it should be super effective against my poison type. Dumb AI, so after 2 Razor Leaf crits, they went down as well. I went into Dugtrio for Jinx, but Rockslide didn't do much damage, so they KO'd me instead, forcing me to send a Kangaskhan which almost died as well, but it took them down with strength. Last was their Lapras, so I just spammed Surf with my Lapras to put my Magneton in a position to KO them with 1 final Thunder and finish the job. Second is Bruno, whose first Onyx easily went down to 2 digs from Dugtrio, and next was Hitmonchan, but this was more of a problem. I just kept spamming Dig until eventually Dugtrio went down to Ice Punch, but not without doing some good damage to them. I brought up Mach next and just spammed Fire Blast pretty successfully, taking down both his Hitmonchan and his Hitmonlee, which also got burned in the process. His second Onyx was up next, so I just went into Lapras to easily take it down with 1 Ice Beam, but I then unfortunately went down to 1 submission from his Machamp, unable to hit it with a Psychic. Luckily they choke like always because they go for a Leer and the Fissure that missed, so Venusaur managed to land 3 Razor Leaves, enough to finish him off. Third was Agatha, and her Gengar was definitely annoying. She did some good damage with Nightshade, hung on to a Dig, confused me and then switched into Golbat while I hit myself in confusion. I brought out Lapras and Ice Beam ended up freezing the Golbat, so it went down without too much trouble. Gengar came in again and Psychic easily finished it. Next is Haunter, and it wasted 2 of the 3 turns by going for Dream Eater twice, so it went down to a couple Psychics as well. Her Arbok paralyzed Lapras with Glare and lowered my defense with a Leer, but it didn't end up mattering. Her second Gengar started well with a Nightshade, almost KO'ing me, but then Agatha completely choked by going for Dream Eaters and Super Potions, so a couple Psychics did the job. The last Elite Four member was Lance, who led with Gyarados, so I just spammed Body Slam until it went down. Next were 2 Dragonair, and he kept using Agility because again, terrible Gen 1 AI, so I took both down without a sweat. I went into Lapras for his final 2 Pokemon, and with a bit of luck with bad move choices and a freeze, Lance goes down to a couple Ice Beams. Then it was time for the final battle, the last battle against our rival, Sap. This battle took multiple hours of trying and trying again, which on the hand was very annoying, but I was also glad there was at least one big hurdle in this game. I was confident I could beat him at the current levels, so after lots of resetting I got this run. His Spiritual wasted turn 1 by going for Mirror move without any used moves to copy, after which I froze it with a Blizzard from Kangaskhan. Blizzard PP ran out because of some misses, so I went into Lapras to finish the pitch up with a couple Body Slams. Alakazam was second and it did over half of my HP with Psychic, but I then paralyzed it with Body Slam and then summoned my Kangaskhan, which knocked them out with a critical Earthquake. I just kept spamming Earthquake against his Rhydon and he almost managed to stop my Earthquakes, but I went down to the last one. Executor was up next, which killed most runs surprisingly, since Sleep is so broken in Gen 1, but on this attempt I finally had my Lapras at decent health for it, and I managed to dodge 2 Hypnosis in a row and 2 Ice Beams almost did the job, but he barely hung on, and after full restore I was out of ice beams. I couldn't even get some chip damage from my final psychic due to the 1 in 256 glitch, so I switched to my Venusaur. I spammed Razor Leaf until he went down, so I got some good chip damage on it, putting him in range for 2 sludges from Muk, while he dies to do more hypnosis attacks. Next is Gyarados, and I tried to get some chip damage with Muk, Kangaskhan and Lapras, but they all went down, so I set up Magneton, at this point the only Pokemon that could still use some attacks. He wasted a turn by going for a Leer, and I landed Thunder, so Gyarados went down, forcing out his final Pokemon, Charizard. He missed Fire Blast, I hit Thunder which also paralyzed, making me outspeed him next turn, so one final Thunder took down the Charizard, making us a new champion and completing this challenge. So to answer the question of can I beat Pokemon Red version with Pokemon that moves in alphabetical order, yes I can. Even with all the rules that I implemented, it was still a pretty quick and easy run. So I might actually try this in a Nuzlocke format at one point, but before I do that, next month I will be trying to beat Pokemon Emerald using only normal type moves, so you can look forward to that. I hope you enjoyed this video, I'll see you next time, and of course, stay alive.